So there seems to be a lot more seal slapping and turtle touching, and I didn't realize, but it's up to 5 years in prison or a $50,000 fine. So I wanted to look into it a little bit more. And what I found out was that the Hawaiian monk seal is one of the most endangered species in the world, with only 1,400 of them left. And this goes for the honu as well, the green sea turtle. It's also an endangered species. And so when somebody does touch or disturb one of these animals, there's not only the potential harm to that person, but it also takes that animal out of their natural rhythm and can affect and compromise their breeding or their eating habits. Just puts them in a bad situation. But it's not just that side, there's also the cultural side of things and the significance that each of these animals plays in Hawaiian culture, with the Hawaiian monk seal being around so much longer than any person has ever been on these islands. And so they show up in oral tradition and written history throughout the ages. And same with the turtle as well, with people even seeing it as an aumakua. But again, this kind of gets me out of my depth. And so I wanted to schedule an interview with Kehau at the DLNR to be able to get her take on things, because I know she's got a lot more knowledge on this stuff than I do. So let's get over to it.
So my name is Kehau Kimokil. I was born and raised here on Maui into a conservation preservation family. So kind of was born into this kuleana. But I work with the state of Hawaii, the Division of Aquatic Resources, in the Protected Species Program. So we're kind of our own little area of expertise, and we do education and outreach. So that's my position. I get to do education outreach, get paid to talk story with people and make new friends, besides the obvious reasons of getting bit by a seal one day. So turtles and seals are under the Endangered Species Act. They're protected federally. So they're not just a state protected species, they're actually a federally protected species. And so the Endangered Species Act actually lines up like how this law is defined as far as a take. So a take could be disturbing a natural habitat or behavior of one of these endangered species. So if you're over there and you're trying to take a selfie and you wake up a seal and the seal runs away, that's actually a take. And so if you slap a seal or you touch a seal or pour water on the seal, that's also considered a take. And so as far as law is concerned, that's a take. And so touching or harassing or getting close to a seal or turtle is actually, you're violating a protected species. The whole reason they're up on the beach is to rest. Turtles, the same thing, you know, to get sunlight. So if we're harassing them, we're causing them to change their behaviors. That's not just only a take, but you're actually changing their entire system as far as trying to survive out here in this environment. Protected species are a protected species for a reason, and that shouldn't be taken for granted. It's one way that we can protect not only the animals that are out there, but the species that we rely on for our cultural traditions. If we don't have these resources there, then we're not able to practice our culture. If you look at our natural resources, there's always a purpose for our species here, whether it's a plant, a flower, a cloud formation, and then the animals. They all have cultural significance, whether it's on a spiritual level or a subsistence level. And so protecting these things culturally, I feel the best approach to anything that's here in Hawaii is to do your research, understand these creatures and what respect they deserve. And culturally, we look at, you know, some of our resources as a dwindling thing. It's disappearing. I think we look at laws and go, oh, okay, well, they're a protected species. But we need to look closer at why these are protected species, or how the turtle even, for instance, is not just a protected species through the state or federally. It's actually a treaty signed amongst different countries that said they all agree and they're not going to eat turtle or poach turtle eggs and things like that. So looking a little bit deeper, I think, is really important as people of this land. And, you know, our Kanaka Maoli have those stories, you know, and I think sharing those stories of how it was in the past is science in itself. It's a kilo of this place, and knowing that we have our Ike Kukuna, our traditional knowledge that is passed down to us through these stories, also need to be shared amongst us, so that way we can say this area was sacred for this reason. Whether it's a protected species like a turtle or a seal or a dolphin or our kohola or whales, they all have cultural significance, and being able to share that of like, this is why we need to protect these species. It's not just because of their numbers or any of the effects that it's happening on their ecosystem, but it's also culturally significant, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am always so grateful that I get to do these interviews. And so let me know if there was something that I missed, if you want to know more information about it, or if you've got any other questions. I'd love to help out in any way that I can. But I also feel like every time I do one of these interviews, I grow so much and I learn so much about things that I never would have been able to know without actually going out and chatting with people. And so my challenge to you, my encouragement to you is, if you're visiting here on Maui or you already live here, try and go out and chat with somebody that's older or has more knowledge than you to be able to learn things that you don't already know. Just go out and find somebody that has insights that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else other than this person. Just go out and talk story.